Today we're headed to the Phi Phi Islands, that insanely photogenic cluster of islands floating between Phuket and Krabi. If you've been planning a Thailand trip, you've definitely seen the hype. But the real question is, are the Phi Phi Islands worth visiting in 2026? We booked one of the most popular tours, and we're finding out. Our day started early in Phuket, where we boarded what was described as a speed catamaran. Personally, I was expecting a chill, open-air catamaran where you can lounge outside as you move across the water. This wasn't it. This boat felt more like an airplane. We were stuck to our seats, and the ride was rough. If you get seasick easily, this boat ride is not for you. We were flying across the waves, and you could feel every single one. And after about 90 minutes of turbulence, we finally reached our first stop, Maya Bay. Maya Bay is one of Thailand's most famous beaches. If you're a movie buff, you might recognize it from The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio. And when people picture the Phi Phi Islands, this is usually the mental image. But here's a reality. Instead of a secluded paradise, it felt like being packed in the most beautiful sardine can in the world. There were dozens of boats and thousands of tourists walking across the dock and across the island. We were literally shoulder to shoulder with everyone for almost the whole time. And when we finally arrived at the beach, it was crowded. Very pretty, but completely packed with people trying to get that perfect Instagram shot. And listen, I can't blame them because we took those photos too, but Maya Bay just really felt like it was just too much. Not only was it impossible for us to get a picture without dozens of strangers in the background, but you're not even allowed to swim in the water. There was literally a guy with a megaphone yelling at anyone who stepped in too far. And I'm not even mad about it either. The reason why they do it is because there had been so many tourists that they had been destroying the coral reefs over the past several years. And Thailand is really trying hard to help the coral reefs grow back. So I think the rule is definitely a good thing, but still, it makes the experience feel a lot more like a photo shoot than a beach visit. Overall, my verdict on Maya Bay, it's great for Instagram, but in reality, you'll want to leave after about 15 minutes. The next section of our tour was Pile Lagoon, and there we were given two options, snorkeling or upgrading to a private longtail boat experience. We chose a longtail boat, and that was absolutely the right call. The longtail boats only fit about 8 people, so the experience feels way more personal, and it gave us the opportunity to meet some of the other people on our tour. Also, the photos here, way better than Maya Bay. I mean, look at that. That's $1 million photo. And the best part of this experience, our driver took us to this beautiful little cove where we got to swim with just our group. This was easily one of the highlights of our entire day. So if you visit and your tour offers a longtail upgrade, take it. I promise it's 100% worth it. After that little excursion, we made a quick stop at Monkey Bay. There were some cute monkeys there, and it was cool to see, but honestly, it wasn't anything too crazy. We didn't even get off the boat. We ended up staying there for only about 15 minutes before we headed off to lunch, and then the next portion of our trip, snorkeling. The snorkeling was one of the main reasons we booked the tour, and this part delivered. The water was crystal clear, there were tons of fish, and the boat anchored in a more private area, so it didn't feel so chaotic. Also, shout out to the tour company because their snorkeling gear was actually really well maintained, which is something that you don't always see in every snorkeling tour. So, kudos to them. Honestly, even if the rest of our tour had been mid, the snorkeling section in the Phi Phi Islands would have made everything totally worth it. I can't say enough how awesome this was. If you like snorkeling, I promise you'll love this. And when the snorkeling was over, there was one final stop, Bamboo Island. Now at this point of the day, the sun was brutal, and when we arrived at the island, they gave us two choices. We could lay on the beach, or we could do some light snorkeling in the shallow water. Obviously, we went with the snorkeling. The only weird thing about the snorkeling at Bamboo Island was that they mandated that you wear life jackets, even though the water was maybe 5 feet deep at its highest point. Normally, this is something I would have been a little turned off by, but considering how hot it was, I needed the extra sun protection because I had used up all of my sunscreen. And how did the snorkeling on Bamboo Island compare? Honestly, not nearly as good as the other place, but snorkeling is snorkeling, so I still liked it. And when we had enough, we got a little bit of time to walk around the island and soak in the sun, so we were extra tan by the end of it. So overall, is it worth doing a tour of the Phi Phi Islands? Honestly, the Phi Phi Islands did not live up to the Instagram hype. This is what I would call factory tourism. You're basically a product on an assembly line, moving from photo shoot to photo shoot and activity to activity. If you're coming into this thinking that you're going to be like Leo in the movies, you're going to be disappointed. But if you come into it with the right expectations, it can still be an amazing day. The snorkeling was fantastic. The longtail boat experience was a surprise highlight. In my opinion, those elements more than made up for Maya Bay being way too crowded and the catamaran not really being a catamaran. And considering the price point, which was only about $100 per person, I think there was a lot of value in the tour. So even though it didn't live up to the hype, if you're in the area, I would actually still recommend doing a tour. Just come in with the right expectations and don't expect an untouched paradise. I'm curious, have you guys been to the Phi Phi Islands? I'm wondering if you all had the same experience that I had. Let me know in the comments. Anyways, that's all for today. If you made it this far, like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.